So then as we begin to demystify this, and the person starts to say, oh my God, the disease that I have is because it's connected to this personality. Is it possible that if I change my personality, just like a person with a multiple personality disorder, who has an allergy to nylon stockings in one personality and type 1 diabetes in another, is it possible then if I change my personality, that the disease exists in the old personality and I'm literally someone else? Is it possible then from a biological standpoint that they're healed and changed? So to answer the question, it's difficult because we're breaking out of a biological mold. It's difficult because most people don't know that they have within their reach all the tools to do it, because they have, number 3, been conditioned on some level to believe that the new hairstyle or the new type of beer they're going to drink or the sports car or whatever it is going to change their state. And that's the hypnosis. And when I wrote The Placebo, You Are the Placebo, the biggest thing that I walked away with after writing that book was how hypnotized and programmed we really are. And that's bothered me ever since I wrote the book, because people watch things in their external environment and they accept, believe, and surrender to that information without any analysis, and they're programmed. And so when you and I start waking up and saying no to those programs, and we start to think that we're maybe a little bit more unlimited than we're given credit for, and it's not driven for profits or self-interest, but when people start to wake up and say, hey, you know, I healed myself of this condition, I healed myself of Parkinson's, I healed myself of lupus, I healed myself of cancer, I healed myself of rheumatoid arthritis, I've healed myself of chronic pain, I healed myself with food allergies. Hey, yeah, I was abused as a child, yeah, that's right, I was beat up by a violent father, and I lived in vulnerability and fear for the last 25 years, but that fear has signaled the wrong gene, and I developed this genetic condition. The doctors said I had no way of healing. But when I overcame that fear and I broke out of it, I started to signal new genes in new ways, and that disease doesn't exist. Let me tell you, if you listen to that woman's story, and you listen to all the trials that she had gone through, and how she overcame herself, and she reached a place of such wholeness and self-satisfaction that she could care less if she had the disease, and that's the moment it went away, and you listen to that story, it's going to give you permission on some level that it's possible for you to do the same. You see someone dance the salsa well, you'll dance the salsa better. You see someone hit a golf ball like Rory, you'll hit a golf ball better. You see someone lead with love and compassion in their life, you will lead with love and compassion in your life. You see someone stand on a stage in front of 500 people and talk about how they overcame their cancer after their husband committed suicide, in the 3 years that it took her to do it, you will be inspired that it's possible for you. So then it has to start with a new consciousness, and that it's going to come from common people doing the uncommon, and that's where my passion is. We do have beliefs that feel good to us because those beliefs are based on past experiences, and those emotions keep us attached to the belief chemically. It's in our biology, and we tend to think neurologically and feel chemically within experiences then that are connected to the past. So when our beliefs are challenged, we hold on to the emotion, like, Jesus had a brother? What? That doesn't feel right. You know, he was married to Mary Magdalene? What? You know, I mean, people freak out because they've been conditioned, and they want to hold on to that because that then ensures a future that they can rely on. When you step out of your belief systems and stepping into the unknown, you are now leaving behind your past. And then, so then, do you have the faculty and the ability to create? Do you have that ability? If not, because then in order for you to go from that old belief to a new belief, then you better have a plan, and you better be willing to have a new experience that is no longer a wishy-washy belief. It has to be a very strong impression in your biology, which comes with an accompanying experience that then changes your biology to understand you believe something else. But that's not the end either, because then you have to question from that point, What is the next belief that helps you to understand the next thing? For example, think about this. The person in our work who, I'll use a simple example, has a very, very difficult marriage. And her marriage falls apart, her husband was abusive, and lived by the stress hormones for extended period of time. Of course, all her energy is going for some threat in her external environment. She has no energy in her internal environment for growth and repair. No energy for long-term building projects. The body is in vigilance. It's always anxious. She's anticipating something bad happening all the time, and she's got food allergies to everything. She's allergic to her environment. She comes to the event, she does the work, it takes her 3 months, and all of a sudden, in one event, she has a breakthrough, and she's eating anything she wants. Now, she's changed her belief about her past because she's no longer saying, I am this way because of my relationship with my husband. See, because when you say, I am this way because I had an abusive father, I am this way because I had a difficult marriage, I am this way because I got fired from my job, what you're saying is, I haven't changed since that event emotionally. And so now you're viewing your future through the lens of the past. When you overcome that emotional state, a memory without the emotional charge is called wisdom. Now you're ready to create a new future, because if you're still attached to the emotion, you're still attached to the past, and you can't create a future. So all of a sudden now, the person has a transformation. She has a shift. She knows that she's liberated from that anxiety. She feels it. And as a result of it, in a matter of moments, Ben, her biology reorganizes to a new mind. And now she's eating, I'm watching her eat pizza, I'm watching her eat a hamburger, she's laughing, and it's sustained. But that's not the end. Because if she's healed herself, then the next question is, I understand the physics and biology of what I've done. Is it possible if I heal myself that I can heal another person? Now my belief is being challenged again. Now I'm challenging my current belief. Is it possible? Well, I don't know. I haven't had the experience yet, but if I'm thinking it and I understand the semantic, philosophical, theoretical, intellectual information, can I initiate it? Can I apply it? Can I personalize it? Can I demonstrate it? Can I modify my behavior in some way based on my last experience to have a more evolved experience? And that more evolved experience will be outside of my beliefs currently, but I understand the science, and if I can get my behaviors to match my intentions, and I've done it to myself, and quantum physics says is that consciousness is non-local, well, hell, if I can create a coherent signature here, I should be able to do it in another person. So then when the experience occurs, now I have more circuitry in my brain that's enriched, I have a new feeling in my body, and I feel like a healer. I already feel like a healer because I've healed myself, but let me see if I can heal someone else. I'm going to bring up that emotion, and it may take me a few times. And I'm telling you, that woman, we did a coherent session where we're healing another person, and the person laying down there was a woman from London who had a exposure to a bacteria in India 20 years ago who had food allergies that couldn't overcome that bacteria. And I watched this woman synchronistically, unbeknownst to the woman laying down there, lay a coherent energy in that person's body, and that woman was healed. I had dinner with her in London, and she was eating salmon and rice and everything else, and she said, I don't know what happened, but I got healed. Now that person who did the healing, her belief was challenged, and because she had the experience, she asked the greater question. So the greater question then led to the next experience, but it's not enough to do it once. You gotta be able to repeat that experience. You gotta make it scientific. You gotta make it a skill. And this is where people stop. Like, they have the one experience and say, I'm a healer. No. The fact that you have the experience means you should be able to reproduce that. So then you keep pushing the boundaries of your beliefs. That's called evolution. And so people reach a certain point in their belief systems and they stop. And so I think the problem with a lot of people in the spiritual community is they confuse insight with belief. Like, oh, you know, I have anxiety, so the reason I have anxiety because of a chemical imbalance in my brain. That's what my doctor told me. And I get panic attacks, and I got a panic attack on a plane, and I'm afraid of planes and crowded places. And so now that you know that you have a chemical imbalance in your brain, does it heal your anxiety? No. So then they go to the psychologist, they go to their friend says, well, it's not a hardware problem, it's not circuits and molecules and chemicals. It's a software problem, and your father was overbearing, he was a perfectionist, and it's a programming, it's from your past. And the person now has the insight that their father was overbearing. Does it heal the anxiety? But they will see that as a belief, like my father was overbearing. What they're really saying is, I am this way because of this past experience. So then they go to the psychic, and the psychic says you were burned at the stake in Carcassonne in the 1500s, you're a charismatic Christian, the memory's burned in your soul. Now that you know that you were a charismatic Christian from the 1500s, a Cathar, a Templar, does it heal your anxiety? No. So then you go to the astrologer, and she says, Mercury's in retrograde, don't leave the house for 6 months. It's the reason the way you are. And so they develop beliefs that are within their emotional acceptance. And so then they build more beliefs within those emotions, which means I still don't want to change. The insight doesn't change anything, because people will only accept, believe, and surrender to beliefs or thoughts that are equal to their emotional state, and they'll program their autonomic nervous system into that destiny. So then you get a diagnosis from a doctor, it creates the emotion of fear or desperation. You'll only accept, believe, and surrender to the thoughts equal to those emotional states. Until you change your emotional state, is it possible for you then to begin to accept, believe, and surrender to the thoughts equal to a new emotional state and bring up the emotion ahead of the experience? Now we're talking about going against conditioning.